We are delighted to have you join us here at our channel for an exciting look at one of the most famous and impressive games in the history of the game. In this video, we will examine the 2013 Zurich Chess Challenge match between Magnus Carlsen and Hikaru Nakamura, two of the greatest chess players in history. Before we go on, do subscribe to our channel to see more content like this on your feed. Now back to the match. This competition featured participation from some of the best players in the world. Magnus Carlsen, who was already the #1 player in the world at the time, was competing against Hikaru Nakamura, who is considered to be one of his most formidable adversaries. Magnus started the game by moving the white pieces in an e4 formation at the beginning of the game. In response, Hikaru played the move e5, and Magnus continued the game by playing the move knight f3, which established the traditional Ruy Lopez opening. The players continued to develop their pieces while following the standard lines of the opening until move 11, when Magnus made an unexpected move. After that, the game took a turn. He gave up his pawn on d4, which allowed him to take control of the middle of the board and create new lines for the rest of his pieces to move along. Hikaru accepted the pawn to keep it, but Magnus quickly capitalized on his advantage and launched a devastating attack on Hikaru's position. This caused the Karu to lose the game. The assault that Magnus launched began with a series of checks that compelled Hikaru's king to move to a position that offered him less protection. Magnus then moved his queen and bishop forward to put pressure on Hikaru's king, while at the same time his knights threatened Hikaru's queen, and rook Hikaru's king was under increasing amount of pressure. As a result, Hikaru attempted to defend his position by launching a series of counterattacks. However, Magnus was able to stay one step ahead of him throughout the entire fight. He moved his bishop to a square that simultaneously attacked Hikaru's rook and queen, which caused the Hikaru to have no choice but to sacrifice his queen to save his rook. Magnus continued to exert pressure on his opponent's position after Hikaru's queen was removed from the board. He did this by utilizing his bishop's knights and queen to create several potentially lethal threats. Hikaru labored mightily to find a good move, but once his queen was taken, he was unable to defend his position successfully. When Magnus moved his knight to a square that threatened Hikaru's king and queen at the same time that was the last move of the game, Hikaru was unable to make any more moves in the game, so he resigned after being forced to give up his queen and having no other options. And with that, we concluded a magnificent game of chess that featured two of the best players in the world and ended with Magnus Carlsen claiming it decides a victory. It just goes to show that even the best players can be defeated if they make the wrong moves at the wrong time. What exactly is it that we can take away from this game? First things first, it is absolutely necessary to maintain control over the middle of the board. Magnus gave up a pawn to gain control of the center of the board, which provided him with a significant advantage for the rest of the game. Second, you should keep an eye out for potential openings to launch an assault. Magnus was always looking for new ways to exert pressure on Hikaru's position, and the fact that he did so ultimately contributed to a success in a competition, and as a final piece of advice, try not to give up too quickly. Hikaru fought valiantly throughout the entirety of the match. However, in the end, Magnus's unrelenting assaults were simply too much for him to withstand. However, this does not imply that you should throw in the towel at the first sign of difficulty. Keep fighting, because you have no idea what the future holds for you.